Give me a second, I'll mute here, and then make some noise.
I can hear Marcus, not you.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Nope.
Heads up, there's roughly like a 10-second delay as well.
That's normal.
I gotta know if that will change it. We are creating in Core and we're doing our best to get through some streaming difficulties to get this all set up. Welcome back. Okay, cool. That was it. All right, we are streaming in Core. We're joined by some meta team members, Mordecai, Mucusinator, and Ocelix. Today I'm just hanging out working on a new costume that I've creating a little environment to showcase it. So we're just gonna be working and trying to make a cool looking scene. Uh, Let me go ahead and hop up to streaming just so that if you would like to be a part of the stream, feel free to follow. If you don't want to be on stream, I will talk to y'all later. Alrighty. Let's do, for creating the scene, we've got our character is going to be replaced by a little mouse riding a bird. We just got a little banner set up on the lance, so it's looking really cool. And we're just trying to create this setting, this atmosphere, so when we're riding around, we've got, you know, the nice morning light coming through. We've got some good fog, a little lens flare on there, just to really make it feel alive. And we're just working through kind of our background right now. Gonna take some of these trees and start filling in. Put them farther away. We've got this environment fog and core that is really powerful and will add that sense of depth to things that are farther away by diffusing that light. And I'm not putting a whole lot of diversity into this background here. We have a nice depth of field as well, so as it gets farther away, we're going to be losing some clarity, losing some sharpness, in addition to kind of having that color bleed out a little bit. We do want to add a few variations as we start getting a little bit more visible here. We can change out our tree model. Get a nice bare tree. And it's all about having levels, because I could just take this tree and just keep going like this, make some variations, you know, get another large one. You know, that'll look good, but it's a little flat. Hey, what's up, Ryan? Yes, a very large size scene for a small character. I'm gonna try YouTube for a little while there, Ryan. We've got, you know, we've done some Twitch. We've done that for a while, and I've been working on getting some tutorials and some new videos up on the channel. So me and a couple other coworkers are trying to switch over and see how things felt streaming on YouTube. So we'll keep checking it out. But we've got a new some new additions. Yeah, yes. Yeah, a little less twitching. Got a new character that we are replacing the default character with, and we've been setting up, with some help of some other meta members, a system that allows an animated mesh that has some existing animations built in to be used in place of the default core character. Added in some personal tweaks to create this feeling of riding a bird. I've always wanted to make a costume like this, and it's really starting to feel like what I had in mind. So we're just working on creating the little background scene here, and starting to fill in this this environment, this setting. So we're gonna start bringing in some closer trees here. We can have all this background stuff. You can press F. So we can have a line like this, and it looks okay, right? It's like a kind of a picture on the back wall, but if we can spread things out, make certain things closer to the center, to the area of the map, create a little bit of depth when we go and we press play, we're going to see a little bit more of a stagger, and it's going to feel a little bit more like we're in depth. Oh, you like those Pringles on the legs? Yeah, arc point. If you would, if you want to put that in the core Discord, that'd be awesome. Yeah, so all these new shapes that the costume is made up of are really cool. Definitely amongst the coolest are these Pringles. Very much looking forward to creating a little cowboy hat with them at some point here. What was it? It's the there are a couple different shapes that I thought would be good. Yeah, get a little little cowboy hat. That'll be next. That'll be the next project. We'll focus on the task at hand here, which is creating a little scene for this mouse to run around in. So large trees, tall grass, all that good stuff. Bring this in a little bit closer here. Bring some of these out here. Okay, we're just creating this collection of trees on the perimeter of the map. And these aren't going to have any collision. The player's not going to have to go and mess with this. This is just to kind of add to the background. Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, you just start slapping these shapes together, man. You can make some really, really cool stuff. Let's see what else we got. I'll go ahead and actually, I realize my desktop audio was off, so you're probably not hearing the audio. There we go. And that's one of the big things that really makes a scene. Actually, let's go ahead and have another project here that I can grab the audio from. Make it really easy. You just grab, copy, and paste these between projects. Got a little wind, a little ambience. And the real thing that this is missing is some foliage. So powerful, powerful terrain editor. And foliage system that goes along with it. Let's see what else we can do. We can add some flowers. Maybe these can be a bit bigger. I like that. That feels good. Maybe a little less frequent. But very, very quickly we can set that up. It's a little flat right now. We'll have to break that up a little bit. But let's keep on working on get a few more background trees. And what's really cool about this too is even if they're far away, that will affect the light, right? And you'll get some of those cool. We've got this really good fog, so you'll get these kind of God rays coming through. Look at those really cool volumetric shadows. And what we can do is we can paint. Start painting a new material on here around the base of this tree. Start getting some of that forest floor, undergrowth kind of feeling. And with this new material, you'll notice as we paint, it's taking away the grass and anything that's on that first material slot. So we can kind of clear out some of this and bring in some new foliage that will just exist on this material. Some really cool things that can be done with that foliage system. Go a little bit more, just around there. So if we go foliage, we'll add some. Let's just do some tall grass on this for now. You just drag it and say we want it to be part of material 3. See it start showing up there. Again, I kind of like a good density on it. You see, it is a little taller, but we're trying to build into this idea that we're a small mouse in a big forest, so we can make this grass a little bit taller. We can do a adjustment on the scale here. Maybe make it like might be a little much, but sometimes it's good to go. And actually, no, not too bad. Maybe a little dense. Let's try 3. And you know, it's also a little bright for my liking. So what we can do is we can go and find the actual object and create a new custom material. We can make it a little bit, well, here, we'll do this. We can apply it to the terrain. When we go and edit it, we can start changing things like the color. There's the main color. A little dark. Although I like that for the base. And then we'll bring this, brighten this up a little bit. Maybe make it a little bit more saturated. Make that grass a little bit darker. You can also change the subsurface scattering on this. Terrain flowers larger? Absolutely can make those terrain flowers larger. Let's see how that feels. We can scale these up. Let's try 5. There we go. What's really cool is all these foliage instances have not collision in the true sense, but they are deformed when you walk over them, morphed when you walk over them, which is really cool. All right, now that it's so big, they're a little too dense. So we can again just go up and adjust our distance between. Let's do maybe 12. See, probably even more. And we've got the new grass coming in. We've set this up to use, if I grab my controller, to use the input speed to drive the speed of the animation playback, which is really cool. I'm not quite sure how much I want to put into this, how much detail and everything, but we're going to try and just use a few general kind of approaches to create some cool visuals. We'll make a little bit more areas that have some high grass, kind of break up some of this. So this will put some on the. Yes, you can always add the detail, but at some point, someone usually will come along and tell you to put some detail away. And I like this little hill here. I'm trying to use the terrain to kind of decide what I want to do. I don't have a huge vision in mind for this other than to showcase. So I'm liking taking these. They're not a stump, not trunk. That's all it was. Oh yeah, now we're cooking. Yeah, we'll get those nice roots out there. And what we can do, let's update that. Make a little static player equipment so that it will automatically spawn in our costume. Ah, interesting. We won't spawn it in that way. It'll just move our spawn point right here. Let's see, we can go and make some more adjustments to this foliage. We'll make this one cast shadows as well. And it's, you can add detail all day long. You can keep adding detail. At some point, there are some performance considerations, but for what I'm doing right now, I'm just trying to make something that looks really cool so I can send a video and have like a very pretty setting. So like the difference between casting shadows on those grass instances up here and not casting the shadows is huge, right? Makes a huge difference. And what we can do as well is we can make this start culling a little bit sooner, but we can stretch out how far away it culls. And maybe not the most performance, you're not really considering that, but the primary goal here is to just create a scene, just to capture a nice scene. We're kind of pushing it. We're kind of pushing it to the edge here. Let's see, what else can we put in? Maybe in the tall grass, we'll add some other flowers. We'll do some bellflowers, and we'll put that on material slot 3. We'll keep a pretty strong distance between them. We're going to size these up as well. Maybe not even that. That'll be a little bit more sporadic. There we go. Alrighty. Align to surface. Alrighty. When first coming up with the scene, so the idea mostly came from just the terrain. So when you go generate terrains, there's some presets, and the Rocky Meadows is one that I've always liked. It's got some good canyons and some cliffs, some good noise in the organization of the scene. And what I did was I started with that, and I just smoothed out all the cliffs so that I guess the main focus was to have enough of a rolling kind of environment to show off the system that I was working on with the bird, where as you run down a hill, the mouse kind of leans back, the bird keeps its head level. It's very easy to see when you're walking towards the camera. You can see that the bird and the mouse and the reins, they're all kind of trying to stay level no matter where the character is walking. So as you go up cliffs and down, everything kind of tries to stay level. Right? That was the main thing, was just to create something where I could show off that. I knew that I wanted this kind of lighting. I wanted to create something with a good little lens flare, something that would look really cool as a video. That's pretty much it. I knew that I wanted to have really big trees. Alright, I gotta change something real quick. So that dash is really cool, and I believe it spawns in a template. Okay, so it just has an audio asset there. So let's find like a bird noise. It sounds more like a rocket jetpack thing. Alright, we'll do perfect. Right. It's not quite a caca, but it's a little bit more in the vein, in the setting. It's a little bit more on brand. All right. Yeah, we'll have to get that official meta caca at some point. All right, I like the banner, but it's not working for me. It's not working for me. I'm not gonna worry about making too many changes to the art. At some point, I would like to change out this art a little bit, but the secret of this is that these targets are tied up to different parts of the body. So the rider is trying to look at this target as it moves around, and that target doesn't rotate with the bird. So this thing kind of stays locked in place. So if I bring this, down and out, you can see it. It will try and look towards that new position as it goes. So it's really easy to adjust this on the fly and make some quick edits. And big shout out, +1 rep to Uku for this code. This was Uku and Coders had done some really cool work with like a hover bike for meta, and Uku, who's also Spicy Game Dev on YouTube, had created kind of a snowboarding example where the player was going down these hills and needed to kind of lock the player. There you go. Yeah, give rep. Lock the player to the surface, align the player to the surface as they were snowboarding down the hill. And so I took that and I didn't have to change anything with that. It worked perfectly. Brought it into the costume, and then just spent a little time putting the pivot point in the right spot for this rider, making sure that they would be looking at the right spot while everything else moved around them. And it's a pretty subtle difference. But if I take those scripts out, let's see. just delete you. If I take those scripts out, it's just not quite the same. The align to surface is huge, so if you take that out, that's where it really starts to look weird. And I've set up all these custom properties, so you can build your costume how you want and say, I want to not align it to surface. You just click a box. So now if we equip it, doesn't look that bad. But it certainly is lacking some of that I guess immersion. I don't know exactly what I would say it's lacking. All right, let's bring this back in. There we go. And we're back. Yeah, and the big idea for this kind of system, I think, just comes from, I really enjoy playing Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Online. I don't play a whole lot, but the times that I do play, I usually just go in and ride around for like 30 minutes on the horse and look at this sunrise, and I'm like, well, that was really nice. And then I usually quit out. I'm not a very serious Red Dead Online player. But just the horse system in that game, everything about the horses, animation and movement is just like, feels so good. It's like, I want to get something kind of like that. And we don't have a horse animated mesh in core, but being able to make the bird, this is actually a raptor animated mesh that the bird is built on. Feels really, really good. It's a pretty close, pretty close feeling. So now that we've kind of already got this foliage set up for these different materials, if we go and we take this material and just start painting, it's just going to continue to apply that foliage wherever we put more. We can bring in some of that foliage around the base of this stump. You can also make a kind of nice blend by just lightly applying this material, and it'll be just enough for the system to start bringing in those foliage pieces, even though we don't see the actual material on the ground. So we don't want these, want to try to avoid hard lines in your art, or at least in this kind of natural setting. So I went through and took some time and blended the rocks on the cliff so that it wasn't just a hard line. And I'm trying to just bring in this high grass kind of along the raised areas. Kind of create these lanes a little bit. I'm doing a very rough kind of sketch with this as well. Just to see what's happening. Right. Well, it's very easy to just get kind of sucked into the zone on this. It's really, really important to test and keep press and play and walking around and seeing how it feels. See, as much as I like that on the sprint, I feel like I need to put that on just a dedicated caca button. I feel like that's the logical next step. Alright, let's go kind of see how some of this other grass looks over here. Okay, yeah, I like that. I like having it. I wasn't sure how I wanted to do it, but I like having the low grass kind of make these little valleys, these meadows, and the high grass serve as kind of the barrier. We did have a little jump set up. It's not exactly how I want to do it, but it works pretty well for now. I find it's better than not having any jump at all. I feel like that's something that's like, if you don't have a sprint or if you don't have a jump in your game, I think players tend to get very upset. I'm not going to worry about it too much as well, because these trees and the stumps are so scaled up, their collision doesn't quite line up exactly with the geometry, so I may need to go through and add some custom collision. But yeah, this is starting to feel pretty cool. Something else we can do there. Our grass is pretty light compared to the grass foliage is pretty light compared to the grass material. And maybe, oh, maybe make this a bit brighter. Maybe not that bright. There we go. Just something to kind of match the color a little bit. There we go. All right. It's sometimes really tempting to come way high up in the air and paint. I think for some starting out, it's good to block in a few things like that. Like I know there's some big areas that I'm going to want where the shadow is hidden. But it can be a little, I find it's best to be really in the thick of it and see how it looks from the player's actual perspective for most of these additions. bit of grass onto this ridge over here. Boom. Actually, these two big hills over here might be a nice place to throw a couple more trees. I'm not quite sure how I want to do the cliff edge here, but I think bringing in some of this high grass to kind of put the border in. And you'll notice also we've got all this grass on the cliff face here. What we can do is we can say we only want it to go to about 30 degrees. And then it should be pretty good. Yeah, 30 degrees is usually pretty good. So it'll stop before the steep cliff starts happening, and then pick up again at the base. We'll do the same for the daisies. Don't think, yeah, we'll probably want to go ahead and just maybe 35 for these. Yeah. Just keep on going through. I'll probably head out now. On Twitch, Core Live is going to be starting. I'll be doing we'll play with the devs and Deadmau5 apparently, which is pretty wild. So probably gonna go and tune into that, get some more work done today. But thanks for joining me. Had a lot of fun streaming to YouTube. First time streaming to YouTube, so it'll be this will be a lot of fun to put some of my actual workflow on YouTube in addition to the finished final videos that I've been putting. So be sure to stay tuned, and I will talk to everyone later. Have a great rest of your day.